right. In this problem, we are given the chemical composition of a compound: 40.1% of copper, 20% of sulfur, and 39.9% of oxygen. I want you to look at that value, 39.9. That is not significantly far from 40. So we can use a reasonable simplifying approximation in this calculation. I also want to take a look at this for the same reason. 40.1, not significantly far from 40. So we're going to use what I call a reasonable simplifying approximation in this calculation. Let us get straight off into the solution. We are going to employ the tabular format. So let's have a table. So let's have the elements in the first column. And of course, the elements here are copper, sulfur, and of course, oxygen. Next, let's go for the relative moles present. Relative moles. We say relative moles because we're not actually dividing by the molar masses. We're dividing by the relative atomic masses. For example, the molar mass of oxygen is not 16, but 32, because oxygen exists as a diatomic molecule. But we're not dividing by 32. We're going to divide by 16, the relative atomic mass. So relative mole present. And now let's take each percent. 40.1, very close to 40. We can do the quick approximation and take it as 40. And divide by the relative atomic mass given to us for copper, 64. This is an objective question, multiple choice question, and of course these approximations are allowed. Otherwise, we would have been given 63.5 for copper, which is more accurate than 64. But like I said, this is a multiple choice calculation, so we can use that approximation. Sulfur, percent of sulfur, 20. And now we're going to divide by the relative atomic mass of sulfur, which is given 32. Finally, for oxygen, percent composition 39.9, which we can take as 40 in this calculation because it is multiple choice, and divide by the relative atomic mass of oxygen, which is 16. Beautiful. This is beautiful. Now, upon inspection of these denominators, I want you to focus your attention on these denominators. What do you observe? Can you pause for a minute, the video for a minute, and come up with a conclusion? Yes, 64, 32 in the denominator, and of course 16. What is the relationship? Can you figure it out? Now 64 is their lowest common multiple. So 32 can divide into 64, 16 can divide into 54, into 64. So let us continue in that light and have, this is still the same as 40 divided by 64, maintain it, because 64 is the largest denominator here. What do we do to 32 to convert it to 64? Multiply by 2. So we do that for the numerator and the denominator. 20 times 2 will give us 40. And 20 times the 32 gives us 64 again. And of course, what do we do to 16 to generate 64? Multiplying by 4. Multiplying by 4. That should be done to both the numerator and denominator. So let's go. 40 multiplied by 4 gives us 160. And of course, 16 multiplied by 4 gives us 64, as we can see. Beautiful. Now we can eliminate the denominators in this calculation. 64, 64, and 64 because they are the same. And then we have 40 resulting and 40 resulting from the second. 160 resulting from the third. Beautiful. And now we can divide by the smallest to generate our ratio. So here we go. Division by the smallest. Division by the smallest, the final column. By the smallest of the values. And the smallest value here, 40 compared to 40 and 160 should be 40. So if we divide 40 divided by 40, we're going to get 1. We divide 40 again, divided by 40, and we're going to get 1 still. And finally, 160 now divided by 40 gives us 4. And you see already, these numbers are in their simplest ratio. So we're looking at the simplest formula for the compound. And that simplest formula is called the empirical formula. Of course, the empirical formula. And that will be copper, 1 atom, of course, sulfur, 1 atom also, and oxygen, 4 atoms. We simplify this, and it is not a common practice to write the denominators as 1, the suffixes as 1 in the chemical compound. So this simply means 1 atom of copper, 1 atom of sulfur, and of course 4 atoms of oxygen, the simplest formula. Our final answer, very simple, and that is actually the option D right there. Now, attached to this video are 2 quizzes. I encourage you to take these quizzes and click on your answer. That will help you to understand the video better. Now, also provided in the pinned comment, there is a link that takes you to the test on chemical composition stoichiometry. I recommend and I encourage you to take the test. There are 20 questions to be solved in 30 minutes. This will help you to access your mastery or your understanding of the topic, chemical composition stoichiometry. Finally, if you're compelled to learn further, there is the comprehensive lecture on the topic, chemical composition stoichiometry, and the link is provided in the pinned comment. Thank you for being part of this session. And of course, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.